Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of homepage, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid, but these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay.
Ready? Play.
Señoras y señores, el fisioterapeuta ha sido llamado al campo. Mano indicada. Senhoras e senhores, o vencedor, Thiago Monteiro.
Play.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Talking Tennis. And we are here to cover Carlos Alcaraz versus Felix-Auger-Aliassime. And I'm very, very pleased to be joined by, not only have we got Mario Bacardi, one of the tennis brains on Talking Tennis, but also I'm very, very happy to finally be commentating alongside Viola. How are you doing, Viola?
Hi, Nick. It's good to be here. I'm good. How are you?
I am very good. I am very happy. Sort of today has gone very well for me. We can get into maybe why a little bit later. But very, very nice to see you. And Mario, how's life with you?
I mean, life is going as always, but it's funnier when we have, it's more exciting when we have some good tournaments like this one in Indian Wells.
Definitely.
So I'm pretty excited because the everyday life can be, of course, be sweeter thanks to tennis.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Tennis always warms us up, and especially since it's pretty cold in the UK where I am, and seeing all the sunshine tennis is definitely bringing some warmth. We are now underway on Stadium 1 in Indian Wells, and already a great rally between these two. Alcaraz gone up the line with a forehand, backhand from Auger-Aliassime, inside out forehand from Carlos Alcaraz, the backhand of Auger-Aliassime, and Alcaraz inside out forehand winner up the line. Very out of court, but that's a Carlos Alcaraz special to start us off. Well, if this is how the rest of the match is going to go, I'm all in on this one, Viola.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely too early to call that after just 1 point. But I think Felix Auger-Aliassime will really need his serve, especially to work here. I was telling my husband just before we started shooting that I really do not know what to expect from this match, especially from Felix Auger-Aliassime's angle. He definitely hasn't been at his best this year, in the last year, actually, not just this season. And against Carlos Alcaraz, even though he has a superior head to head, I think it's just going to be a pretty tricky match for him. Carlos Alcaraz, on the other hand, I was very worried coming into this tournament, seeing as he hadn't played a lot of tennis, had to pull out of Rio, and then when he lost the first set in his previous match, I rolled my eyes and thought, "Oh my goodness, here we go." But then he literally breezed through the next 2 rounds, and that was some really quality tennis. So I think that puts me at rest concerning Carlos Alcaraz to an extent.
Yeah, I think our fears around the Alcaraz injury have definitely been put to bed. You're absolutely right. Mario, I want to come what your opinion on this head-to-head, because historically Felix has had a bit of an advantage over Alcaraz. He leads the head-to-head 3-1. Okay, one of those is retirement, and one of those was Davis Cup. But he's still got a good win over him in Basel in 2022. Alcaraz got the one win in their head-to-head over him this time last year, in the quarterfinals in Indian Wells.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess my question to you is, what is it about the Felix matchup that Carlos finds tricky, and is Felix going to take any confidence from that, given how he's been playing kind of in the last 12 to 18 months?
Well, I think that the one thing that can make this matchup a bit trickier for Carlos, it's maybe the fact that in the serve return dynamics, when the rally lasts, even less than 3-4 shots, Felix, if he's in good form, can really make the difference. And so I feel like this has been the main reason why he won all the first 3 matches. And maybe it's also not a coincidence that Carlos got his win last year here in Indian Wells, where the conditions are a bit slower, and so also the serve dynamic is a little bit less important. But of course, I don't think that we should read that much into that right now, because of you know many things it changed comparing to when they were facing each other last year in Indian Wells and even in 2022. I feel like Alcaraz and one has a big favor. Um, yeah, of course, with the head-to-head can give you the confidence. You can say this. I did this thing before and not once but many times. Uh, and also, in my opinion, something like, you know, finally getting a big win after a lot of time can maybe play a role. Maybe Felix can also feel not so much pressure today because he's, you know, playing against one of the very top players in the game, and given his current form, it's not like so many people are expecting him to, you know, to play out of his mind. So maybe also having mm, less pressure than usual in these kind of matches can maybe help him a little bit.
Could see that happening. Bio, did you want to comment on any of what Mario said? You seem to agree with him.
Yeah, I definitely
Okay.
do.
Sorry, I thought.
I think no,
Sorry,
no
sorry, I thought
problem.
it was for me.
I think last year to an extent Alcaraz kind of figured Auger-Aliassime out for the first time. And like Mario said, the conditions were really favorable and all of that. So I think those are the factors that might play here again today. But to win this match for Felix Auger-Aliassime, that is, he will definitely need to, yeah, there was one of those just now, make less errors.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, Carlos Alcaraz has come out playing box office tennis. It's probably the kind that took him to that comeback win over was it Kabali?
The second round was
Ronaldo.
against
Second
Arnaldi.
round. Rinaldi, that was it. Rinaldi. Yeah, win over Rinaldi. It was an Italian. I knew that. I just picked the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cobolli can be mentioned for Auger-Aliassime because you know, Cobolli beat him in Acapulco right before coming into Indian Wells. So yeah, there are a lot of
And
Italian
there are
players right
many
now.
Italians doing great at the
I
moment. Yeah, so
understand.
many Italian names to mention.
Well, take it as a compliment, Mario, that Italy's got so many good tennis players that
Yeah,
are very easily
absolutely.
mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, who's left of the? Well, Sinner's left from the Italian crew, and he's
Yeah.
following up later after this. I mean, this was a this is a tell you what, if you had Stadium One tickets to Indian Wells, you had Swiatek, Alcaraz, Sinner, and basically first people into the
Perfect.
future, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. Then it also depends a little bit on, you know, which kind of matches do you prefer to follow. But I have to say that it's not the classic day when, you know, the stars are, um, you know, also the players who all the three are facing are players who you would like to keep an eye on. So yeah, it's definitely a good ticket. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Well, at the minute, it's turning out to be a good ticket. We're only a couple of games in, but it is fairly competitive out there on Stadium One, and we've got, as we said, a fascinating lineup of matchup here. Alcaraz, obviously, I think both players have something to prove. We talked about Felix, and Biola's already talked about Carlos, and sort of, you know, how is he looking post injury. So I think we're in for a good time here. But yeah, are we? I guess after watching the Netflix slam, do we? Was that? I know Carlos was moving a little bit gingerly, but that must have boosted him a little bit, even if it didn't really matter for points.
Yeah, it definitely did. And, you know, beating Rafael Nadal, whether it's exhibition or not, always matters. And to be honest, those two guys, Alcaraz and Nadal, definitely did not play that match like it was an exhibition. They both seemed really serious about it. And yeah, I think it was fairly good warm up to an extent for Carlos Alcaraz, and then his second round match as well. So yeah, I think that worked. That worked out just right. It was good timing for Carlos Alcaraz.
Where are we at with the? I mean, I've spoken a little bit to Damien and Stricker about this on stream. Hopefully, viewers aren't fed up with this conversation. But I guess either of you can come in at all, or both can pitch in on this one. But you know, where are we with Rafa at the minute? Are we optimistic he's going to play clay, or are we pessimistic he's even going to make the French, or somewhere in between?
I am a bit pessimistic mode right now, honestly. But I mean, it's also a bit obvious for me because, you know, it seemed like he was training, he got to play the exhibition. Yeah, the indications maybe were not perfect, but were, in my opinion, you know, quite enough to maybe suggest that he would have give it a try, you know, in Indian Wells, also a tournament where he likes the conditions. He won it 3 times, reached also the finals. So yeah, for sure, it's not that easy. It's not that easy right now to predict. I tend to believe that he will play the French Open, but I'm getting many doubts. Let's say like this. It's a little bit of an unpredictable situation.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm not very optimistic either, to be honest. Nadal has already had to pull out of a couple of tournaments already. Even though we know the injury he's been dealing with, we also heard he had some back issues. And that was one of the reasons he had to pull out of Indian Wells. There just, at this point, always seems to be something. There just seems to be setback after setback. And you wonder how long Rafael Nadal can continue like this. I mean, we saw a clip of him already practicing on clay after withdrawing from Indian Wells. We saw that on Instagram. So that's definitely an indication that he intends to play on clay. But then he has also intended to play a couple of tournaments this year, and his body just let him down. So it will really depend on his body. You know, clay is, even though he's the king of clay, clay is still always tough to play on. He will have to do a lot of sliding. It's very physical, and we know how physical and powerful Rafael Nadal likes to play. I think it's just fingers crossed, really, at this point. Maybe he could play 1 or 2 tournaments before Roland Garros or go straight into Roland Garros. He will definitely want to compete at the highest level. So I don't think Nadal will come back to court if he isn't fully fit. And right now, we are not in his body, but pulling out of one tournament after the other, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. I am with you on the pessimistic side. I do think Rafa's gonna. I think Rafa's gonna play Barcelona. If out of any of the clay options, I think that's what he want to do, and then he'll probably go take a break, do the French, do what he can, and then probably won't play again until the Olympics. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Olympics was where he kind of said farewell.
That seems to be the goal, right?
Yeah. Well, I think judging by what he's saying, he was hoping to maybe play all the slams. But obviously his body is just his body's kind of there. Like, we're all speculating. We don't know what Rafa will what Rafa's planning wants to do. Well, we know what he wants to do. What he end up doing, may it just depend on how his body is. But I do think he does want to play the slams. So I think he does want to be in New York if he can. But I don't know if that's where he'd sign off.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it depends on what his body allows him to do.
Yeah,
that's the way to put it, I guess.
I'm also a lot pessimistic on Wimbledon, for example. It's the slam I'm more pessimistic about. Yeah. I mean, it's a situation that, let's say, day by day, we have to take it like that, because it's really difficult right now to predict his moves and how he is physically, because You know, we've had some contrasting feelings over the past couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
so it's difficult.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're not medical professionals and we don't know Rafael Nadal,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we're going off the data that we've got at the minute, and the data's not looking good. But I am also pessimistic he's going to play Wimbledon. That the grass is not going to be kind to whatever problems he's having.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. But hey, if his last match at Wimbledon is that 5-setter with Taylor Fritz, that was a good way to go out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Putting everything all out on court. Yeah, that was a really memorable one. But I think, like you mentioned, he would like to play at all the slams, and even though he doesn't make a deep run, I think he might make an appearance at Wimbledon at least, play one more match. It could be, might be, fingers crossed, his farewell over there. So he might just want to touch every slam, even though he doesn't play so much. So I think I still kind of expect to see him there somehow in some capacity. I don't know what exactly.
Showing up. Kind of linking back into the match, we're kind of maybe there's people wanting us to update on. Terry's asking if Uncle Tony's still with Felix. I believe he is. I haven't heard they've broken up.
No, me neither.
Yeah. So
No, I don't think so.
Uncle Tony's still with Felix, apparently. I don't know. I haven't seen him in Felix's box. But yeah, it's currently 2 games all, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure, it's not a presence, you know, that he's always there. But yeah, I think that as far I know, he's still helping him. That's what I know.
Yeah. Plus, he likes to talk. I think he's a really good communicator. So, if they were to go their separate ways, I believe we would have heard so by now.
Yeah, that is true. By the way, huge forehand winner from Carlos Alcaraz to bring us to love
Yep.
30. So I think I think we should probably focus on the game a little bit before we continue the Uncle Tony conversation. So let's see how things go. I'm going to talk us through what's happening here. Carlos Alcaraz is decked out in a purple shirt with blue shorts. He's got the obviously Nike sponsorship. You've got Felix-Auger in Adidas with this grey and white shirt with the black shorts. He serves, tries to cut the tee and goes long, which is a shame because that would have been a really good serve. Alcaraz was struggling to get a racket on it. So we've got a second serve coming up for Felix-Auger-Aliassime. How's he going to deal with being love 30 down this early on in the match? Going for the second serve, a bit short, but kicks up. Alcaraz gets that awkward backhand return. Felix is going to come in behind it and then puts the overhead away, 15-30.
Yeah, I think Felix did well to not go love 40 down there, but really good overhead there. I think so far, Carlos Alcaraz is really piling the pressure, and this is where Aliassim needs to be extra careful.
Very experienced Auger-Aliassime. Go on. Oh, you're going to say something there. Never mind. Okay, we're going to look at Felix here. 15-30 now. He's getting ready to go. And he serves out wide. This one is in. Backhand into the net, though, from Felix Auger-Aliassime.
Yep. So break points.
I haven't seen great indications so far, honestly.
Well, let's see if Felix can dig himself out of this hole, but it's not looking good because that follow-up backhand wasn't great. I mean, he was pushed back a bit by the Alcaraz return, but the out backhand was still, even for that scenario,
that's another
tame. So 15. Yeah. I think you might be a bit ahead of me, Mario. Huge serve up wide from Felix. But the forehand is wide, and it's game to Felix-Auger to Alcaraz with the early break.
I will let you talk since you're the one, you know, a little bit behind.
Yeah, I know I'm a bit behind. I'm sorry. I get excited. I try and describe what's going on.
No. It's definitely okay.
So yeah, that break was definitely coming. I think since the beginning of that game, the pressure was really on Felix-Auger-Aliassime, and it's really no surprise that the break has come.
No, I don't think you should be surprised either. I mean, that was probably caused by a few unforced errors by Felix and a slight drop in intensity.
Yeah, let's say that it's not looking good when we get into the rally. Not looking good, of course, from Felix
Mm.
perspective. So far, the level is a little bit shaky, in my opinion. A couple of double faults also served well in the first two games to to hold, but yeah, overall he's not seeming, in my opinion, to be able today to do enough in order to create big issue to Alcaraz's game.
I've got several questions, but I think we're going to start with Sean's here, who's come in. Do you think Felix would be better suited to a more attacking style of play? I'm going to let you come in first on this, Mario, and then Viola can follow up. But I thought Felix was an aggressive player. He's got a big serve, generally tries to get on the front foot in the run.
Yeah, the
Um,
idea is that one. The idea is, being aggressive. I mean, he's not kind of a serve and volley player, but he is an aggressive player. Then, of course, it also depends on the level you are expressing.
Yeah,
Because then, if
I
the level
think
is not, yeah, go, Viola.
I think Felix Auger-Aliassime is probably not as aggressive as he
Ah,
used to
okay.
be. Definitely not. I think the best aggression and defense, to be honest, the combination of that we've seen from Felix Auger-Aliassime was in 2022, late 2022. But he does seem to suffer some different forms since then, and he seems to be lacking confidence as well. So that definitely has affected his attacking play, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, but I agree with you on this. I was talking about the usual idea
Mm,
of tennis. The kind of tennis he tries to play. He's, let's say, voted to play, but of course, right now he is lacking for sure that confidence. And then also, if your shots are not at high level, you may be subjected to being attacked and to
sure.
find yourself being a lot of defensive work. That's for sure.
I have to ask then, we're talking about maybe Felix being less aggressive. Is this the influence of Uncle Tony? Which then follows us up with the question of,
Mm.
has actual Uncle Tony's influence been a positive one? Viola, you can go for this one first, and then Mario, you can follow up.
Um, I think Uncle Tony's influence was good at the beginning. I think they went off to a decent start. And then we saw Felix Auger-Aliassime improve. We saw him win his first title finally, then the first couple of titles towards the end of 2022. So I think it did start well. I really do not understand till now what happened from the start of 2023. I mean, considering the way he ended 2022, I think he won four titles in quick succession. We're expecting him to have an explosive 2023, really, but it was the other way around. So I'm not sure um, it's really in Uncle Tony's hands. I think the player himself, I don't know if it's just confidence. I don't know if he needs, a change in his team as well. Maybe it's not really working anymore with Uncle Tony. Maybe they have to go back to the drawing board, see what they were doing in 2022 that they are no longer doing. But I think it did start well. It just fell off at some point.
Yeah, it's difficult to understand right now because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we've seen a lot of different things by this team since when it was created. As you were mentioning, a lot of good stuff. Also, I mean, it's not a play. He is not a player. I have the player I followed the most in the last
Yeah.
couple of years, because I usually tend to focus more on the. I find the return game players who can return really well more attractive to me than these players with a big serve. And so, for example, players like let's say Alcaraz or Sinner, this kind of their return game usually steals my sight more. uh, but yeah, I have to agree. In my opinion, they're also there is also a change maybe to be made, because things are not progressing. He has been injured,
Yeah.
but then since he came back, I mean, the first tournament's okay, but now the new season, also after having won that Basel title last year, which came a little bit out of nowhere, started
Yeah.
playing better. I thought that the 2024 season could have started better. Instead, things are getting probably even worse right now, because the match against Koboli, he also served very bad. And yeah, the level is not really there. Alcaraz is playing also with a lot of margin and just going away with it. And yeah, the situation is not, is definitely not good.
It's not looking good for Felix right now. He's love 40 on the Alcaraz serve, having trying to hit a passing shot when Alcaraz rushes the net. It's love 40. So I'm going to talk through here to see if Alcaraz can get a break here. But yeah, there's definitely some further thoughts on Felix out there. It certainly seems like the Canadian is maybe not living up to the hype that he generated in the first couple of years of his career. It's a great serve from Felix, though, unreturned, 15-40, first breakpoint save, first breakpoint he's managed to save this match. So that's already a very, very positive start to try and digging himself out of this hole that he's found himself in, but he's still got 2 more break points to try and follow up with. Alcaraz is ready for whatever the Canadian's going to throw at him now. Felix-Auger-Aliassime is going to come up to the baseline. He's bouncing the ball. He's in the service position. He's going to serve. He goes out wide, gets that one in play. Follow-up forehand to the back. Alcaraz backhand up the line. Forehand cross-court to the forehand of Alcaraz, goes up the line. Backhand cross-court Felix. Backhand Alcaraz. The backhand of Felix, who tries to change direction, goes way out of court, and Alcaraz breaks again. He will serve for the set at 5-2.
Yeah, but as I was mentioning, Alcaraz is playing with great margin. Seems like to me seems like he hasn't he's not being really pushed. He's playing, of course, great rallies, but without even risking that much. And that's worrying for Felix, definitely.
I'd love to hear both of your perspectives on this. We'll start with maybe Viola, but what do you think is the best, I'm going to say best win of Felix-Auger-Aliassime's career, but you can follow up with the best match of his career if you think there's a match that he played that he lost that he played better in. What do you think, Mario? You thinking about it?
Oh, she left us.
Viola's gone. It looks like she's lost connection. So, Mario, do you want to best win of Felix's career?
Let me think about it just a little bit.
Well, yeah, because I need thinking about it as well. Because the matches I can think of where he's kind of maybe
probably one of the great matches he played, even if he lost that one, was against Medvedev at the Australian Open in 2022. That quarterfinal was a really, really good match. And another one in the comment also.
Yes,
told this. Yeah, that's for sure. And talking about a win, I mean, I have to think about it. I have to be honest.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position because the match that I come up with is Felix just narrowly losing to Medvedev in that Australian Open quarterfinal, where everyone was kind of super excited about the performance he put in. Great volley from Felix-Auger-Aliassime, by the way, to get himself to love 15. But then, if I think about like the Alcaraz win at the Davis Cup, maybe that was probably his biggest win by ranking. But how much was Alcaraz playing near his best? But yeah, other than that, it's kind of
the occasion also was not that high, in my opinion, because it was Davis Cup, but it was the group stage, and also Alcaraz coming from the US Open title. I don't think also the occasion was that good to really say, he's biggest win. Yeah, by ranking, yes, of course. But yeah,
Yeah, I think why it's kind of hard for every one of us to remember some of his best matches is because he probably hasn't, been beating the highest profile players, we just talked about him beating Alcaraz, and Alcaraz probably wasn't at his very best at the time. Alcaraz hadn't grown so much at the time. So yeah, I think that's probably why we find it very hard to remember those matches that he played so well. But there have been those, they've just not been against the biggest boys. Let me put it that way.
Matthew asked to answer your question, because I was thinking about that Wimbledon run as well. I think he beat Kyrgios because Kyrgios retired, and then he beat Zverev
yeah.
in the 4th round. I don't know whether we consider that a significant win for him.
And it was for sure. Zverev was at the top of the game in 2021, and also getting to a Wimbledon quarterfinal. It's for sure.
Yeah, that actually happened with my mind.
A good win, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean,
Sean's saying he remembers him beating Sinner. I don't remember which match that was.
Madrid, I think. It was a match in Madrid in 2022. But yeah, it's...
We're not overly impressed by these results, are we?
I guess that's it.
But by the way, yeah, it's a break point on screen, so maybe Alcaraz has a chance to Auger-Aliassime has a chance to impress us. 30-40 for the Canadian, chance to get one of these breaks back and make the set a little bit closer. Alcaraz is going to serve really wide serving position, actually, almost practicing the doubles bit. Follows up with a forehand up the line. Alcaraz special, saves the break point, deuce.
Yep. There goes that chance.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just sort of Felix had to go cross court on the return, and then that just teed Alcaraz up for that forehand, which he set himself up for. Yeah, Matthew's saying Felix's indoor run in 2022 was good. He did.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And then Antonio, I think, who's commenting on Twitch, we're talking about Felix's best match. Alcaraz's best match is probably that Djokovic win.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be the Wimbledon final. I mean, he definitely had beaten Djokovic before then, but that was the ultimate. I mean, how many people beat Novak Djokovic in a Wimbledon final? So yeah, that was it. That was the pinnacle, really, of it.
Yeah. I think only 2, Alcaraz and Murray, which are not necessarily the names you would have expected to hear. Right.
Yeah, let's say that probably, talking about a win against Alcaraz, probably the one he got in Basel was more important than the one he got in Davis Cup. I feel like he was playing good, but I have to say that when the match is not really close, then it also gets a little bit more difficult to remember. That's for sure. Also, it was a 500 tournament, so. But for sure, that run was something really great, because he beat, for example, Alcaraz and Rune back-to-back in straight sets to win the title. Yeah, so probably that week in Basel in 2022 was probably the one where we saw his highest level.
Yeah, I have to say, I remember when Felix came on the scene in 2019, he got to that final in Rio, and everyone was talking about him being the next big thing, and he was certainly a very exciting player to watch when he first came on the scene at that time. He was only, 18 years old. But what I was thinking was, for the next couple of years, he wasn't developing as fast as I thought he would. He wasn't getting the results we were expecting. And then that US Open semi-final came round, and that helped him out a lot in sort of the prestige. I think that helped set him up for that really, really good 2022 season he had on the whole. But I was a little bit, but I do have to say I was a little bit skeptical of him being the next multi-Grand Slam champion based on that. Probably could get, still very, very good player. Could have got one, but it's looking, but certainly looking unlikely after the year he's had. And I don't know if, given he's just lost that first set to Alcaraz 6-2 in these conditions, maybe as you were saying earlier, faster conditions, he's got a chance. But I do wonder now how he's going to match up against the top players, Sinner and Alcaraz, going forward.
Yeah, also because the head-to-head are a little bit, let's say even this one against Alcaraz, but even against Sinner, he's 2-0 off. But they never faced since really, Sinner took a step up. They faced, both times during Auger's best season, which was the 2022 one. Yeah, I have to say that for me, it's also, I may be a little bit boring on this, but I feel like in today's men tennis, you really need a more solid backhand and a very good return game if you want to really take that quality jump to be a Grand Slam contender, in my opinion. If we analyze who is at the top of the game, of course Djokovic first of all, but also Sinner. Yeah, Sinner has this amazing form, but if we look at the backhand side, he's very solid out there. And Medvedev and even Zverev, who is also quite at the top. These kind of players have it way more easy, in my opinion, at the top of men's game.
Yeah, I think it just kind of seems like Felix-Auger-Aliassime is being left behind in a way. I mean, if we were looking at 2 years ago, we'll be talking about the top young stars in tennis, and he would have been one of them. But I think he has just, really fallen off, and I'm not sure I can put him in, that list anymore. I completely agree with Mario. I think we are at a point in the ATP tour where you really need to be an all-round player, less predictable, really, and that's it. Really, with Felix-Auger-Aliassime, it's really just one way, and we haven't seen him progress much really in the last year.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Biola. With that, Alcaraz, by the way, Auger-Aliassime has just gone wide with an inside-out forehand. Alcaraz won the first set 6-2.
Yeah, Alcaraz won. He's 24-7 in the last 31 points.
I do feel like a lot of those points is, Alcaraz has had some flashes of brilliance in that, but with the margin he's playing with, a lot of that is Felix breaking down, going for a bit too much on the forehand.
Yeah, but let's say I'm not. That's the thing I'm, worried about. It's not that wrong. I am stunned by Alcaraz's performance. He's playing good, doing what he has to do, but is it enough, in your opinion, to be 6-2, 1-love, and up break in the second set? Also, in my opinion, Auger's low level, it's been showing right now.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think Carlos Alcaraz is doing so much at the moment. Like Mario said, he's really just doing what he has to do, and it's Felix-Auger-Aliassime who isn't really coming to the party here. To be honest, going into the match, I expected 3 sets, but I don't see that happening anymore after that first set.
I'm going to just address a couple of questions in the chat. So Antonio's saying that he's asking about Rafa, whether we think he's going to come back to any titles or reach semi-final or final. I don't think you were here when we were talking about Rafa kind of more at the beginning of the stream, where basically our consensus was Rafa's going to struggle to play, let alone win. So I think given we're pessimistic he's going to even play many tournaments, we are even more pessimistic that he's going to win anything, or at least get to a semi-final. Even get to a semi-final. Wow. It would have to be a 250. It would have to be a clay 250 with a very with a sort of a field that didn't have any or challenger. In my view,
And I definitely do not see Rafael Nadal playing challengers right now.
No, not in his interest. He wants to go out by playing the big events.
Yeah, to answer, to reply to Sean, Alcaraz with margin would almost be unbeatable, for sure. But for me, this is also showing that he's not feeling really pushed right now, because I for sure believe that if Alcaraz is playing against, but even let's say someone like maybe I don't know, Urkac or Rune, 7, 8 in the world. He would need to
That's
try
so
to
rude.
push more and to be more, even more, take more risks, in my opinion. So for me, this is not a great indication for Auger-Aliassime.
Yeah, for sure. I have to say, Alcaraz does look motivated because he's just fist pumped, having won the previous point with a nice sort of forehand that hit the line, then a drop shot, and then a nice passing shot past Felix. But he's just missed that ball there, and it's 30 all. Suddenly there's a sniff for Auger-Aliassime to get himself back in this set.
Whoa.
Obviously, I appreciate you probably know the answer before I do, but I'm just saying what I see right now. 30 all right now on the Alcaraz serve. Let's see what it is that Biol is disagreeing with me about here. So serves, body serve from Alcaraz, but it's gone long. So we've got a second serve coming up for Carlos Alcaraz right now. Let's see what he's going to do. He's going to go T. Backhand in play from Felix. Forehand cross court from Alcaraz. Felix tries to hook the forehand, actually gets it in. Great. No, he just missed it, but it was still a great get from Alcaraz. He didn't originally know it was out. Really, really good result. Felix just missed that forehand, but it was a tough one to pull off. And Alcaraz
Yeah.
has game.
Yeah, I think Alcaraz is definitely pulling away now. And I think just to stay in the match, Felix-Auger needs to avoid getting broken again, really. I think he just needs to make this a little more competitive. We are not getting, the competition we feel we should get in a Carlos Alcaraz versus Felix-Auger match. I mean, on paper, it looks like it should be an explosive match, electrifying, and we're not quite getting that yet, at least from Felix-Auger-Aliassime side of the net.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really sorry to say it, but honestly, it's going really as I was predicting to be. Conditions, in my opinion, already favors Alcaraz in a match against Auger-Aliassime on the Indian Wells courts, and given the current level of both players, I don't know. I was not honestly expecting fireworks. That maybe a bit more competitive, that's for sure. But it's not like I was really expecting a blockbuster match. I have to be honest.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess I was expecting too much then.
No, I mean it's fair. It's fair. It's of course we can have different opinions. It's totally fair. I may be wrong.
So it looks like we might be having quite a short stream to cover this match. And so our next stream is covering the next match on this court, which is Jan-Lennard Struff and Jannik Sinner. Are we expecting that? Yeah. Are we expecting that to be a bit more competitive?
I think going by Sinner's current form, he seems almost unbeatable right now. Yeah, Lennard Struff has been a little up and down, blowing hot and cold in recent times. I don't expect him to cause Jannik Sinner a lot of trouble. He has such a huge, massive serve. I think that might just be
It will
the
depend a lot
only.
on that, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't think he will cause Jannik Sinner so much trouble.
Let's say that I am expecting a straight set, but without, without 6-2, 6-3, maybe 6-3, 6-4. or even they may even get to a tiebreak. It will depend a lot on
Yeah,
Struff's level, that's for sure. I'm pretty sure that Yannick will be at a certain level, and if Struff is serving well, doing what he can do, maybe it may sound a paradox, but maybe the slower conditions can help him a little bit more with the rally tolerance. So maybe it can be, it can be competitive, but it will depend a lot on how, which version of Struff we are going to see today.
sure.
I mean, is the slightly slower conditions maybe what helped him in Madrid, that kind of midpoint in terms of pace?
Well, in Madrid, it's pretty quick, I think. It's still a clay court, that's for sure, but
Mhm.
it's I don't know. I feel like it's different. I
And
I I don't know really.
And his form is definitely different now. Like I said, he's been blowing hot and cold. This is
Yeah,
definitely not the Yanina Struff we saw last year, So I think, like Mario said, it would really be depend on the level that he brings. It's not really in Yannick Sinner's hands. I think we just all expect Yannick Sinner to be at his best, like he's been all year. He's still on a winning streak, the most informed man on tour at the moment. So it's really all in Jan Nastro's hands what kind of match we get, how competitive it is, and how long it might be.
It's all on Struff. Matthew's bringing us an update from the other ATP match that's happening right now. Is Alex de Minaur leads by a set and 5-love on court 4
Oh
against
wow.
Yeah, they exchanged breaks. I caught a bit of the early part of the match. They exchanged breaks in the first set, and it was pretty competitive. But yeah, since then it looks like de Minaur's kind of taken control. Having won 7 games in a row. By the way, Felix has managed to stop the rot because Alcaraz has won 6 games in a row in their match, and Felix has finally managed to get one of his own. But yeah, de Minaur looking fairly set to move into the next round, and Bublik, as Matthew's saying.
yeah. Then
might
we have Putintseva. Putintseva is up 6-4 for love against Madison Keys.
Yeah.
Which maybe is not a shock, all things considered.
I mean, really scraped through her previous match.
Yeah, and also it is this one her first tournament in a while, first tournament of the season, I guess.
Yeah.
And Paulini won the first set against Kalinskaya 6-3.
A rematch of the Dubai final, that is.
Yeah, already a third meeting between the two, because Kalinskaya also won
Yes,
at the Australian Open, and it was also a pretty big round because for a place in the quarterfinals. So
I guess this is a rivalry now.
yeah,
to an extent.
I think it's probably the most competitive match out there right now because they're 46 minutes in, and every game seems to be a bit. Paulini's 40-love up according to the live scores. So yeah, we'll see how that one plays out. And we'll see how that plays out. But that might be the one I kind of switch to when this match here on Stadium 1 is done.
Yeah. I was interested. That's for sure.
Understandably.
And yeah, but by the way, for the John was asking me to do Swiatek against Noskova, but for the new TV right stuff, I can watch the WTA matches only on the device I connect on the live streams, and I cannot do the opposite. So it will be very, very difficult for me to do it for the WTA matches.
It's a shame because you probably want to update on Paolini, right?
yeah. But, she's playing great. I'm very happy to see her doing at this level, and at this point, especially if she wins today, maybe seeing him doing a top 10 debut somehow until the clay season would even be possible.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, look, Kari doesn't have a lot of other points out there to defend, so I think it's highly possible that she could find herself in that position going into. I mean, do you think she could be top 10 by Rome? That would be big for the Italian Open.
Yeah, would
Yeah,
be a
it
big one.
definitely would be.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead, Mari.
No, would be a big one. Yeah, that's for sure. I'm especially thinking about the 12th position because 9, 12 seeds avoids, the top 4 in the round of 16. And so for me, that's that's an important cut for having, a more favorable draw. On here, she's 13. This is Rybakina's section, right? Yeah.
That section, which is pretty wide open for
Yeah,
semi-final.
yeah, it is.
Keeping an eye on things around the grounds. Alcaraz has missed a forehand trying to finish this game off, and it's 40-30. That was definitely going for the big shot to finish. Standard Alcaraz, really. On that, but he's still got game point to maintain this break advantage. So yeah, I think so. Now we're kind of keeping an eye on other things going on. Are there any other matches from today that's sort of scheduled for today that you're looking forward to, or are some of them at a point where you'll have to sleep?
No, I will go to sleep at some point. I'll be honest. But at times I catch in the morning something, that happened during the night. For example, the deciding set of Sabalenka. I watched it this morning. When I woke up, I was like, "Oh my God, what happened?"
Same, exactly. Same. I wake up and like everyone's raving about this match. I'm like, "Whoa! Why do I always sleep through the good ones?"
I was
Yeah.
really lucky to be awake at the time, so I didn't miss that one gladly. But I will definitely be getting some sleep. I'm really looking forward to Angelique Kerber versus Veronica Kudermetova. Really, I've been impressed with Kerber so far, and I just really would like to see how far she can go. And Veronica Kudermetova is one of those players you never really know what to expect from. So I think this is a match that seems doable for Kerber, but I would like to see how she executes that.
Yeah, even if in that section I'm expecting more from Wozniacki, honestly. I kind of felt
Hmm.
like between the two, she's the one that is presenting herself at, at the highest level between the two, in my opinion, despite a little bit of turnarounds she suffered at the beginning of this year at the Australian Open and in, I think it was San Diego. But yeah, I've seen her playing really well for some patches of of the matches so far. So I don't know. I'm expecting a little bit more from her rather than from Kerber, honestly.
Yeah, I think with Wozniacki, I think the reason we haven't seen her best is because she probably needs to play more matches. I understand, I'm a mom, and I understand how difficult it might be, combining tennis, making a comeback, and having two kids. But if she's really making this comeback, she will need to play more matches, to get herself in the groove, be more competitive, really. But she played the Australian Open and then we didn't see her for a bit again. It's been up and down. I think she's, just selecting tournaments at this point, but she definitely needs more matches if she's going to go deep into tournaments, really.
I think that match against Voyet is going to be interesting because it's probably going to be fairly underpowered compared to a lot of other matches. But I think you've got taste with going to look at Kudermetova and Kerber. I think that could be quite an interesting one. And I agree, both Wozniacki and Kerber have good chances of going pretty deep in this tournament. So yeah, that's where So yeah, I think that's a good one to keep an eye out for. I think that might be something I'll see what matches are kind of going on and whether I'm still awake for it or whether I need to sleep. Just an update. Alex de Minaur has now won. He's won 7-5-6 love against Alexander Bublik.
Yeah.
And he's
Wow.
the game in the second set. So it's 4-1 Putintseva. Viola, you seem surprised that Bublik's on the receiving end of a bagel.
Yeah, I am. I kind of expected a little more competition from that. Um, I agree. Alex Domino is in the form of his life, really. I'm really impressed by him so far this year. But it's also Alexander Bublik. You know, he puts up a fight every now and then. So getting bagel is definitely not something I saw coming.
And he has reached 2 finals in fairly quick succession.
Yes, he has.
Mario
Oh,
looks like
that's weird.
or he's just reacting to whatever I'm about to see right now, which is
It's
poor backhand from
another poor backhand. Honestly, I'm struggling a little bit. I have to be honest, because at times he also finds a little bit out of balance on that shot.
Well, there we go. We've got breakpoint opportunity for Carlos Alcaraz to go a double breakup 4-1 in this set, and that would probably pretty much cement the match, right? Although it seems inevitable. Huge serve from Felix, though, follows up with a forehand, but Alcaraz goes for the passing shot, puts it in the net, and he's annoyed. Deuce.
Yeah, that was a big opportunity.
Not
there.
far
He
from
made
making
it.
it. Yeah, but would have been more of a Felix fault. Honestly, he had all the courts. So yeah, glad for him that he saved himself.
For now.
I am very big on the minor. Actually, I have to say.
Okay.
I'm really liking the way he's carrying himself. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he manages to win a Masters this year.
Yeah, well, he's on that trajectory, right? He was in the Canada final. You're right. He's carrying himself pretty well, and
yeah, in the ATP Weekly, both me and Damien thinks he will be in the top 8 in Turin this year. So let's see if our prediction will be true.
I mean, he's very good at consistently getting results. He's definitely been building himself up through his career.
Yes, he is.
So I think it's something interesting. I guess, if he is going to win a 1,000, as Bjorn needs to sort out her power. Mario, if he's going to win a 1,000, where do you think his best opportunity is going to be? Because the one thing I've got about de Minaur is I don't think...
In my opinion, it's because between Canada and Cincinnati.
Okay, so slightly faster hard courts. Because he doesn't have a great... He doesn't have a great head-to-head with Yannick Sinner. That's his big problem. But then he's only played Djokovic twice. I don't think he's got a great record with Alcaraz, if I remember right. Medvedev's a bit closer.
Yeah, of course he needs also a little bit of, let's say, a chance, talking about also probably the draw. But given how the story of the Masters tournament has been, I wouldn't be surprised, if he manages to win one in the next months. I would say that, in my opinion, the most favorable tournaments are the one with, I feel like the quickest hard courts should be the ones who suit him the most, because of he's also a great defender, but maybe the quicker surfaces also helps him a little bit to to find more power. But overall he's getting very solid more or less everywhere, let's say like this. So I feel like he's one of these guys that as soon as the draw opens up, he should be ready to to use the opportunity. That's why I'm making this statement right now.
I could see a scenario where he wins Canada. It depends on how he does at the Olympics, which weirdly, for someone who moves and defends the way he does, I'm surprised he's not a bigger influence on clay. But then same thing with Leighton Hewitt, right? And I guess my question then would be, okay, so just the Olympics, maybe doesn't go that deep. Say the top four, maybe some of them pull out of Canada. I could see Alcaraz not doing great at Canada anyway. He always seems to struggle there.
No, I honestly can see, them even withdrawing from Canada. I have to be honest.
Well, all four of them.
No, all four of them, no, but who will, who does better, in my opinion, at the Olympics? In 2020, was 2022, for example, no, 2021, sorry, we saw both the world number 1 and 2 withdrawing from Canada. Djokovic and Medvedev were, not Medvedev, sorry, Medvedev then
Medvedev won the tournament.
Won in Canada. I was talking about Zverev, sorry, the world number 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, it may happen. The guys who will do better, I fear that they're gonna, think a lot about whether to go there to play or not.
So essentially, Dimonor has to hope that Sinner does really, really well at the Olympics and pulls out of Canada, because that's his best hope, because that's the only one with a real big matchup problem. Because I think Alcaraz in Canada, it's not his favorite location. And Medvedev has won the tournament before, but he's kind of patchy there. Okay, he's very, very good in hard courts. Dimonor could challenge him. And Novak, I think it's really going to depend on how he's feeling, but he skipped Canada so many times. I can imagine him missing that one as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Canada is Dimonor's best opportunity, but then, then it might end up being a lot of people's best opportunity.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Then I mean, he is so far. I definitely I agree with you. It looks like kind of an open Masters this year. That's for sure. For example, in Canada 2021, Opelka got a good chance and got to the final. But in general, it's quite an open tournament. For example, in 2022, it was Carreño Busta's, maiden Masters title. It's historically kind of an open tournament, but also because, being the first one between Canada and Cincinnati. Usually in Cincinnati, all the top players are readier to do better and to play at the top of the level. Or maybe, for example, for Djokovic maybe withdraws from Canada and starts directly with Cincinnati. So yeah, it's historically been recently, let's say, in quite an open tournament.
Yeah, for sure. It has to be. I think. I think it's going to be that again, probably. So we'll see. It's going to be defended by the Olympics, and we won't know what happens in the Olympics until that week. By the way, just to bring you up to speed, Yulia Putintseva has finished off Madison Keys 6-4, 6-1, and Kalinskaya has got a break in the second set against Paolini. No, she hasn't. Sorry, it's 3-2. It's 3-2 going with serve, love 15 on the Paolini serve. So that one's looked. Kalinskaya Paolini still looks pretty competitive. Unlike this match that we're following here, which seems to be very. Momentum seems to be very much with Alcaraz right now.
Yeah, it's just one break, but what we are seeing, it's not really in the air. A possible comeback. So yeah.
Are we now, given we've seen a little bit more of Alcaraz, are we now a little bit more optimistic about his chances of making the semi-finals, or is the Zverev question still a big one, regardless of Alcaraz's state?
I mean, a tough match if it happens, that's for sure. But for sure, the indications are quite good. Let's say that. Zverev also is not really, finding himself super well in Indian Wells historically. He got only one quarterfinal out of 7 appearances. So yeah, probably this would also suggest me, give me another reason to suggest that Alcaraz is playing at a good level like he's doing today. He should be probably safe until the semi-final. He would meet. They are playing to meet Marochan, which was the player who beat him in Rome last year, and he's also actually playing really well because he conceded only 4 games against Sabot Wild, which was playing great. Beat also Kachanov in the second round quite comfortably. So yeah, I mean, there are some obstacles, that's for sure, but he's looking like the big favorite to reach the semifinals, in my opinion, all things considered.
Yeah, I guess my question was, obviously that Zverev head-to-head doesn't help, but I think
no, that's for sure. But
usually when he's had an off day.
No, yes, but Zverev, it's for sure a player who can create some troubles. That's for sure. But I'm also trying to analyze the conditions who may favor a little bit. Zverev historically has never done anything great at Indian Wells, and so this probably may suggest that this matchup can be more favorable for Alcaraz here. Like, for example, it was in Madrid when they have faced there.
There we go. Okay, and then of course, then that means that we are odds on for an Alcaraz-Sinner rematch.
Great. I mean, I'm always up for an Alcaraz versus Sinner match. It's one of my favorite matchups. I think probably my favorite matchup, number one on the list at the moment. So I would absolutely go for that. I'll always be ready for that. I think every time they play, it's always an interesting one, no matter who wins, whether they go the distance or not. So yeah, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, even if Sinner has not, really, let's say, a cakewalk, because there's Struff, but even after Struff, there may be, for example, Ben Shelton, or even Francisco Cerúndolo, who is a player that always does well during the Golden Swing, and then a possibly quarterfinal against, for example, Tsitsipas or maybe Rublev. So yeah, it's not that it's not that comfortable. There are some obstacles, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we've all just gotten to the point where we trust Yannick Sinner so much. He has proved himself so much already this year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I think we just absolutely expect him to get there, no matter who he faces.
Honestly, I picked Yannick Sinner to win the tournament because I couldn't see anyone beating him except himself or fatigue.
Yeah, fatigue or injury, really. If it's not that, I think he might just make this.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I would say that, if you want to show someone the video of, copy this player, I would show them Yannick Sinner. I don't see any obvious technical issues that you shouldn't pick up. Everything seems really, really strong. It's literally going to depend on how he deals with whatever match in front of him from a really, really good player like Alcaraz, Djokovic, even Medvedev, and whoever else comes through. So,
and I think something I find most interesting about Yannick Sinner these days is how healthy he is. Yannick Sinner used to have different health issues. If he wasn't injured, he was sickly in some way, but he seems to have put that behind him. I don't know what his team has done, but whatever it is, they really should keep doing it because he just seems to be in a healthier place, and that has really been important to his game.
Alcaraz is frustrated that he's kind of shanked a full hand lob and wide, giving Auger-Aliassime a game point. And actually, do you know what, it's amazing to me that Alcaraz and Sinner have already solidified a legendary rivalry so early in their careers
Mhm.
that like people are hyped for an Alcaraz-Sinner match in the same way as a Djokovic-Alcaraz match, or even maybe even a Djokovic-Nadal match from years gone by, Federer-Djokovic, whoever. I think Nadal and Federer kind of wrote a very different kind of legend. But I would say that it's very pleasing to me as a sign that sort of the men's tennis in the same safe hands once Djokovic steps
Yeah,
off the
I
stage.
have a couple of reasons. First of all, when Sinner beat him back to back between Wimbledon and the UMAG final on clay in
Yeah.
2022, Alcaraz was already, the established top player, and Sinner was not. And so the fact that Sinner, had won these matches, even if he was, the one already still not there, made it look a lot interested. And then of course that amazing battle they had in the US Open quarterfinal helped a lot to create it. But then, yeah, of course, in every match something great happened, because also last year in Miami there has been the famous rally, which we saw a lot of times over our timelines. For example, between the two in the semifinal they played last year in Miami. So yeah, absolutely, it's great. But in my opinion, one thing that made it look like a good rivalry since the very beginning is the fact that Sinner was, winning a lot of these matches already when he was not as established as Alcaraz.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think
I
that helps
think
a
at the
lot.
moment it's definitely the biggest rivalry or the best rivalry of their generation. And I think it's probably shaping up to be like Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, because they also seem to be very good friends. They have a really good relationship off the court as well. So I like how it's shaping up to be that. And I think everybody loves Federer. Everybody loves that rivalry. So what do we call Sinner and Alcaraz? Sincaraz.
Yes,
So I think Sincaraz is shaping up to be like Federer at the moment.
that's a big claim given some of the iconic battles that Federer and Nadal had, particularly early on in their
Mm.
Oh, I
rivalry.
like this question.
Match a year.
I like this question. Does Sinner have a better return and serve than Alcaraz? The numbers, we are seeing from, the analysts right now are telling us that they are, Sinner's serve and return game is working better lately than Alcaraz. I feel like they both are exceptional on return, even if it's superbly different. Um, but I have to say that, in my opinion, Alcaraz is probably returns even better overall. But in the matchup, Sinner's return is the standout shot, which is making the, for example, in the Miami semifinal last year, Sinner returned to 82% of Alcaraz's first serves, and this is an incredible number. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that lately this is making the difference. Sinner had a really high quality jump on the serve and return game.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think Sinner's serve is better. Return, I'm not sure. I think they're both good for different reasons. I think it's marginal, and I think it probably depends on the day for them.
Yeah.
So I'm not willing to kind of say one has the better return at the minute, but serve
Yeah,
right now.
I think it probably seems like Alcaraz has a better return because he's more athletic in a way. Alcaraz goes for every ball, stretches himself for every shot. So I think that is why it might, on the surface, look like Alcaraz has a better return.
That would make sense. There's something about this Sinkaraz rivalry that the next edition they play will be the first time that they're both Grand Slam champions.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty interesting.
That just adds an extra level of hype to that rivalry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yes, and you know how I think the whole world had been looking forward to the younger men winning more slams, apart from Novak Djokovic, who is still very active on tour. We only had Daniel Medvedev, who was the Grand Slam champion, and it was really looking like the younger generation wouldn't have it for a long time, till probably when Djokovic retired. So it's good to see that we are having more Grand Slam champions that are younger now. So that's really a big way to put it. That they will be both playing as Grand Slam champions. It's really refreshing, to be honest.
What young players do you think we have coming through that you are most optimistic about winning a Grand Slam? So I'm saying by young, I'm talking 22 and under.
Winning a Grand Slam.
Most optimistic. These people are definitely going to win, because I think it's silly to definitely predict that. We've been talking about Felix as someone who some were saying he's definitely going to win one, and now we're not so sure. Same with Stefanos Tsitsipas, same with Alexander Zverev. So I'm just going to say the word most optimistic.
I think at the moment I really, really like Menchik, but I'm not sure I would say I'm very optimistic about him winning a slam. I think we are probably in a place in the ATP tour where the guys you mentioned, the Sinners and Alcarazes and Zverevs and Tsitsipas's, might still be taking the slams before the younger players. I think in the last 20 years almost, the ATP has just moved from generation to generation. It's really difficult for the younger ones to break through, like in the WTA. So it's almost like a turn thing. It's almost like it's everybody's turn. And I think at the moment it's still the Sinners and the Alcarazes. Maybe we could still mention the Tsitsipas's before the younger generation. To be honest, there are many exciting prospects at the moment, but winning slams, I think we might, give them a couple of years more.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying right now. I said at some point in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, Messi, he excites me a lot. And the reigning next gen ATP Finals champion as well, we call him Novak Djokovic's baby. We haven't seen so much of him since he won the next gen ATP Finals, but I think he's someone who is very exciting and a real big prospect as well.
Yeah. Good choices. By the way, it's 15:30 in this game for me. I've just seen the scoreboard tick over.
Yeah.
So I think I'm about to see something go horribly wrong for Felix-Auger Aliassime. So this match might be over. So let's focus on the match for a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
So huge forehand from Felix, but then tries to pick off the net. Alcaraz uses impressive speed to run it down, go for the pass, and Felix can't pick off the volley because that attempt was too good. Drop shotting Alcaraz is a risk given how fast he is, and it's 15-40. 2 match points for Carlos Alcaraz to comfortably win this match against Felix-Auger-Aliassime, and then maybe we'll return to this conversation to wrap up before the Sinner stream starts. But here we go. So, Felix-Auger-Aliassime stepping up to serve, hoping to keep himself in this match a little bit longer. But is Carlos Alcaraz about to be sailing into the next round? First serve out wide from Felix, then inside out forehand, running Alcaraz around, who slices his backhand. Inside out forehand from Felix into the net, and Carlos Alcaraz is shouting at his box, not in a negative way, but in a very sort of way, and he is just won against Felix-Auger-Aliassime and marches on in Indian Wells. That was, I think, Mario, we were saying we don't think Carlos was tested too much, but still gave us some nice highlight reel moments.
No, for sure. Was
a
good match from Carlos Carlos' side. That's for sure. I would still stick saying that in my opinion it leaves me more negative feelings about Felix, as I have to make a balance of this match. But for sure, great, good stuff from Alcaraz, that's for sure. I'm pleased for what I saw. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Felix stood no chance today, unfortunately. Like I said, I probably expected too much from this match because it's Felix-Auger-Aliassime regardless. And even though he's not in the best of form, I think he really could have given more to this match. And you mentioned, highlights. Definitely, it's Carlos Alcaraz. He's a walking, moving, breathing highlight reel, no matter how easy the match goes. So, yeah, really, really good win for Carlos Alcaraz. I hope Felix-Auger-Aliassime can, after this tournament, find some form again. I don't know what he and his team intend to do, intend to tweak, but he really cannot continue this way. He seems to be regressing a little. So congratulations to Alcaraz. I'm sure this win will definitely give him some confidence because no matter how we look at it, Felix Auger-Aliassime is still kind of like a big name in the ATP. So this is a really solid win.
Really.
Yeah, we are watching the stats. Both have a negative balance between winners and unforced errors. 6-23 for Auger-Aliassime. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I'm struggling to find something positive, honestly. It's not that I was expecting too much, as I said, but yeah, I was really, I really wanted to see how Felix, would have done in this match today to have a better perspective about his current level. For me, it hasn't been encouraging.
You've got Damien's tweet saying we've got a rematch of Alcaraz versus Marozsan. Do we see this match definitely going differently to how it went in Rome?
I definitely see it going differently. I think that was just while Marchand played some lights out tennis on the day. I think it was really a slip up from Alcaraz, and this was a player he didn't know, didn't have any experience playing, and it just really took him by surprise. And going by his current form, and after this win, I think he should be able to deal with Marchand. Not that it's going to be easy peasy. It's definitely not going to be a walk in the park, but I think Alcaraz might just take that.
Yeah, I guess it's going to depend on how Marozsan is hitting and whether his shots are actually going in the court. It's probably how it's going to decide how tough it is for Alcaraz. If Marozsan's misfiring, it's not going to be that competitive. Could be a good one. I certainly think there's going to be some people who are remembering the Rome one who are going to get very excited. By the way, I've switched matches now because Callum Sky has taken the second ticket of Power.
Yeah, I know it.
So we are now into a decider on court 2. So I'll probably watch this before I go to bed. Yeah, I guess I think we're probably waiting for Sinner to come out. So we probably should wrap this stream up so that the guys doing Sinner and are coming. I don't know who's covering that one, but hopefully it'll be good fun. But yeah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be Damien and Vange.
The dream
power
team.
Couple.
Jealous, Mario. Get in there and third wheel quick. Yeah, I mean, any final thoughts on? I guess we kind of comprehensively covered. But do you have any final thoughts before we go, Mario?
Yeah, I will focus on the good right now, this time, and I would say that for sure, for Carlos has been a good step forward. We had some maybe doubts given how the clay swing went, and also the small injury he had in Rio. And I think that we can be calmer about him. He's doing fine.
Yeah, I think apart from the injury, while he made a little bit of a deep run in Australia, I never really thought Carlos Alcaraz was at his very best. But I think we've seen improvements already in 2 matches here. So yeah, that's definitely a positive to take.
All right, well, there you go. That's our final thoughts. So thank you both so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure talking tennis with you both, and with everyone in the chat, Sean, Matthew, Terry. Thank you all for joining. So we'll give you a bit of a break, grab a drink before the next match, then join Badge and Damien on the next stream. But yeah, thank you both so much for
Thank
Yeah.
you.
coming
Thank
on.
you.
Blast.
Thank you for being such a great host.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Brilliant. All right.
Goodbye, guys.
And to all of you watching, take care and keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.